a comfortable seat on your mat, ideally with your hips above your knees, with the intention of letting your hip flexors go. And if you struggle with this, come right to the very front of the block or the bolster or the blanket and tip your hips off a little bit, and your knees will drop, and you will notice a different release than if you stay rolled back in your belly. And so let's arrive together here on our mats on this beautiful winter December morning, or noontime for those of you in other time zones. Take a moment here to arrive, to come back to your body, come into your body. And notice how your spirit and your soul feel this morning. And notice if your mind is noisy or quiet, or a little bit of both, with compassion and kindness. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Notice your sit bones or your ischial spines on the block, bolster, or earth. Send them downward. Connect into the earth. Find your center. Find stable. And engage your belly. Find strong. And tilt your belly forward. Reach and grow your spine. Align it all the way up towards the sky. Reach the crown of your head to the sky. Take in a huge inhale. And exhale, drop your shoulders. Once again, inhale, huge, delicious, deep breath, pouring it down like honey through your body. And exhale, drop the shoulders once again. Notice how they feel. And flip your hands over on your thighs, taking a moment to let the light in, being open to possibilities, open to change, open to light, open perhaps to peace, open perhaps to feeling free, open perhaps to feeling with or connecting with joy. Not that it all has to be joyful, but can you connect with any of those emotions that feel accessible? Can you let them in like the light in through your hands, up through your arms, and down into your chest, tucking them into that spot behind your heart? And if your eyes are open, gently close them. And just coming right into that spot behind your heart, checking in with your heart, noticing how it feels, perhaps bathing it with some of those emotions: joy, peace, feeling free, light, open-hearted, or kindness or love. Bathing it with an emotion that is kind. And coming back to your breath, pouring the breath in through your nose and the light in through your hands, all the way filling your body with light and breath. And exhale, releasing tension, the patina, anything that's getting in the way. We'll take another big deep breath in through your nose. And exhaling any stickiness or stuckness that might be interfering with the shine, the light, the peace. And pause for a moment. Notice how you feel. Noticing is the key. Slowing down long enough to notice is the key. And we will bring a hand to heart and another hand to top. And you don't need to feel your heart. And they can be over your sternum, over the center, or over the side. Notice what feels best to you. What your body says feels right. Some of you might want to do hand to heart, hand to belly. That can also feel right to you. Notice what feels good and choose that. And the invitation of today's class is the other words that I chose for the year. As I mentioned last week, strong was one. And I also chose peace and free. And I thought we would explore feeling peace and free, knowing that strong is also a part of that. And I think so many of us feel heavy and burdened. And so today will be an exploration of finding peace and finding that feeling of free. So letting those just percolate in your mind for a second. What would peace look like for you? What might it feel like? And what would feeling free feel like to you? And my invitation of this class is also that peace begins with you, free begins with you. Whatever you would like to grow more of begins with you, begins inside, begins with your stories, begins with your cells, begins with your physiology, begins with health. What else might it begin with for you? Not the end product, but the beginning. What does peace begin with? What would feeling free begin with? What's the first step? Breathing in long and smooth, if this brings up any tension, and exhaling, softening the tension. Breathing in this energy around feeling peace and free. And exhaling it, letting it out. And we're going to bring our hands to heart center, rubbing them together, warming them up. And bringing your thumbs into your sternum, fingers are going to reach towards the sky, elbows will jut out towards the side. Press those thumbs into the sternum with the heart beneath. And setting your intention around this exploration of finding, feeling, connecting with peace, and finding, feeling, connecting with this emotion of free. Whatever that is for you. We are all different humans, and words mean different things. They have different energies. And so connecting with what that might be for you. Perhaps simply committing to exploring it. And we'll take in one big deep breath together. And exhale, let it out. And you'll lower your hands and open your eyes, let the light back in. And we're going to start with a mantra, which is one of the ones I teach in kids yoga, but I think is amazing for adults and is amazing for people in medicine or different situations. And it's using your fingers. You'll bring your thumb and index finger together. That's peace. Thumb and middle finger begins, thumb and ring finger with, and thumb and pinky finger me. And these are acupressure points. So you can say it not out loud or out loud if you wish. Peace begins with me. Pressing the finger pads together. Whisper it this time. Peace begins with me. And say it silently while pressing your fingers together, one at a time, lightly dancing them. And next we'll switch to feeling free. So feeling free begins with me. Feeling free begins with me. You might shift it if feeling free doesn't resonate to you with feeling unburdened begins with me. Or feeling joy begins with me. And my invitation with this mantra, you can continue to say it to yourself, is that these intentions, when they are light and playful, actually seep into those nooks and crannies much more readily. You're directing your attention or your GPS towards them, and you're creating permission to let them in. And so while it may sound serious that it has to begin with you, I invite it to be light and fun and playful, knowing that that is where our change and transformation and shifts are much more easeful. And that's the intent of infusing joy here. Perhaps altogether, we will also do the mantra, joy begins with me. And I like to invite you to do it 3 times, out loud once, whispering once, and silently once. And pausing for a moment, bring your hands to heart and connect with if there's something else you'd like to bring in that begins with you. Perhaps it's worthy, perhaps it's kind, perhaps it's love, perhaps it's hope. Pick whatever it is and do your own mantra for that 3 times, or it may be one of the ones that I offered already. When you feel complete, lower your hands and have a little shimmy, getting out any tightness. Find your belly, find your center, root your hips downward. Inhale your arms up towards the sky. We'll take our right thumb and middle finger, grab the left wrist and reach tall, 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 growing tall. And exhale, tip to the left. Breathing in that peace and sense of free, perhaps letting the breath pick up any stuck spots or any tension and letting them flow down on the exhale. Inhale, tug to the right. Exhale, release, tug even a smidge further. One more breath here. Sending attention and breath to anything that feels stuck or tight. Come back to center, switch the clasp of your hands. Inhale, reach tall, tall, tall. Another little shimmy. And exhale, tip to the right, bathing every tight nook and cranny. It might show up as a muscle. It might show up as just challenging. It might show up tight. Send the breath, nourish it, and bathe it with oxygen and release that. And connect with this idea of free, breathing in peace and free into every tiny cell, every tiny alveoli. Coming back to center, opening your arms out. And we're going to start with a big hug. Wiggle your fingers towards your medial scapula to the best of your ability, lifting up your elbows over your chest, squeezing tight while upright first. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze even tighter. Inhale. Exhale, round forward, squeeze even tighter. Roll your head and neck down. Release all the tiny little fibers in the spine here. Gently lift your head up to neutral, untangle your arms and stretch them into the side walls. Switch sides, give yourself another hug in the other position. And one of the intentions here, peace and freedom, also come from a commitment to do no harm to yourself. So in yoga, we do no harm. Don't do any positions or poses that don't work. If this is too tight for you, do a looser hug. Huge breath in and out. Round forward, squeezing tight. And doing no harm applies to our thoughts. It applies to our body. It applies to our decisions. You can only find peace and free with that commitment. So perhaps squeezing yourself tight and making that commitment to do no harm, to notice where you might be doing harm and stop. Choose to stop or practice stopping. Bringing your head and chin up to shoulder height. Release your arms to the sides and lower them down. Reclasp them behind you at your sacrum. Press your fists downward, shoulders down and back, elbows extend, and drop your chin to chest. Huge breath in and out. Bathing every nook and cranny with breath, especially in those tight neck muscles, thanking them for holding up your smart, busy brain and head. Exhale, release. Bringing your chin back to shoulder height. Release your arms out and up. Interlace your fingers this time. Flip the palms. Do a little shimmy. Exhale, round forward. Suck your belly all the way back. Stretch every nook and cranny of the lungs. Inhale, reach up for a seated cow. Exhale, round forward for a seated cat. Make it juicy and big if that feels good to you today. Press your palms all the way forward. Inhale, reaching up, slight arch back. And coming back to the front into a cat. Inhale, reach up once again. Find your center. Exhale, tip to the right. Use your center here. Notice you are grounded, safe. Inhale, come back. And tip to the left and enjoy. Coming back to center. Opening your hands out to the side walls. Flex your wrists 90 degrees. Pinch your scapula together. Tight, tight, tight. And exhale, release. Do that one more time. Pinch your scapula together. And exhale, release. Drop your fingers to the floor. Bring them to the sky. Make a huge squeezy fist. Release your hands, letting go of those things that interfere with these emotions of peace and free, letting go of all the negative thoughts, the stories, the tension. This is a physical practice of literally flicking out whatever's getting in your way, whatever feels heavy, or maybe just inviting it to soften. A couple more squeezes as you notice your arms heating up. And you'll lower your hands down to the floor and enjoy the tingles. Noticing that the process of release sometimes is uncomfortable, and then it feels amazing. But it's also a process of doing no harm. We don't do it too fast or too much. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and give your occiput a squeezy hug into the shoulders. Tight, 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 tight. Appreciating your neck for all that it does. We're always so cranky with it because it's cranky, but it does so much work. Squeezing it tight, massaging it, and exhale, drop your shoulders. Notice how amazing it feels. Decide it feels amazing. Enjoy the tingles. Roll your wrists. And taking out whatever you happen to be sitting on, we're going to come into butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. This is also an option for those of you who struggle with cross-legged at the beginning. You can always start in butterfly pose. You'll bring your hands here to your ankles and hug them in towards you, the heels. Coming into a fun butterfly. It's monarch butterfly season in California. They're all migrating. And we will enjoy a little rock in honor of those butterflies. Find your ischial spines. Notice your groundedness and center, and come to stillness. Tuck your belly in, sitting up beautiful and tall, shining your heart forward and flapping your butterfly wings, enjoying them. In honor of those butterflies, they are light, they are free, they move through the world peacefully. Yet they have also come through this metamorphosis and super messy spot. And so both can be a part of your existence. Inhale, sit up a wee bit taller. You can move your hands out of the way of your chest, pressing them in towards you. Huge inhale. Drop your chin to chest, sending kindness into that neck. Lifting your chin back up to neutral. Release your hands, stretch your legs long. Find your sit bones. Move the flesh of your seat with kindness, rooting your ischial spines downward. Your knees will be slightly bent. For those of you who need a blanket or a block or a bolster, sit atop that. Engage your belly. Inhale your arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward towards your ankles, toes, straight your knees. Release your head and neck. Flex your ankles towards you. Lots of energy shifting. Wiggling your toes freely, lightly. Stretching them wide as far as you can, a little intensity, and relax. Point your toes towards the front. Enjoy the tension, stretch, and release. Notice the tingles. And pause here for a moment. Drop your head and neck, bend your elbows a little, and just allow yourself to sink in and enjoy the moment here. Perhaps notice the joy, notice a sense of peace, notice a sense of ease. Free involves ease. It doesn't mean there's nothing in the way. It's just less burdensome. sliding up towards your knees to your thighs. Bend your right knee, hug it in towards you. Bring your hands to your shins. Sit up nice and tall, giving it a big hug. Release the hip a wee bit. Huge inhale. Pick up that right foot, bring it to the outer edge of the left thigh. Refind your sit bones. Take your left hand, give the right knee a hug, squeeze it in tight. Bring your right hand behind you. Twist and gaze behind you. Gazing over the right shoulder. Huge breath in and out. One more breath in. The inhale, grow tall. Twists are a spine lengthener as well as a massage in your insides. Many of us get massages for our outsides. Twists can be a massage to your inside. Releasing anything in the inside here that would like to go, that's in the way of this sense of peace and freedom. Remembering it begins with you, and it begins with letting go of all the extra stuff. Coming back to center, pick up your right shin, bring it in front and stretch it long. Have a little wiggle on the sit bones, bend that left knee in, hugging it in towards you. Find your seat once again. Huge breath in, squeezing it tight, letting the hip go. Exhale, pick up the left foot, bring it to the outer right thigh. Give that left knee a huge hug with the right arm. Squeeze it tight. You'll feel a little hip release. Bring your left hand behind you into a twist. Inhale, grow tall. Spine, lengthen your spine. And exhale, massage your insides. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, release. Letting go of anything sticky here. To let in that peace, that free, that joy. All of those require allowing. Coming back to center. I taught a whole class this week at Sagrada on allowing, embracing, and inviting. Maybe we'll have to do that here. It was so fun. Pick up that left foot, bring it back to the left side. Extend your legs long, move the flesh of your seat. Hinge at the waist, sitting up tall, slide your hands down towards your knees, and you'll notice a different sensation in the backs of the legs. Wiggle your toes freely, have a little fun with it, a little lightness, and pause. Notice how you feel. Release your head and neck. Lots of energetic movement here. Sliding up your shins to your knees, to your thighs. And we'll sweep our feet around, coming to hands and knees. Inhaling for a cow. You're going to reach your sit bones towards the sky, crown of the head towards the sky, and exhale for cat. Your knees should be directly under your hips. Hands should be directly under your shoulders. Reaching your belly as high as you can. Inhale for cow and enjoy that length and stretch in the front of your belly. Rounding into cat. And coming back to hands and knees. We're going to drop down into puppy pose. Lower your forehead towards the floor. Connect that third eye to the floor. You'll walk your elbows a little farther forward if you want to send some love and kindness to every nook and cranny of your shoulders. Reach your hips towards the sky. Breathing into the tiniest and farthest pockets of the lungs and the chest. In and out. 3 humongous breaths here. Wiggle your fingers a little farther forward. Creating freedom in your shoulders from the tension. Freedom from what? What would you like to find freedom from? Perhaps self-doubt, judgment, heaviness, tightness. Invite that spaciousness here with your head down, connecting your third eye to the floor, getting that wisdom of what you would like to find freedom from. Wiggle your fingers as far forward as feels good. Breathing in and out. Pause here in stillness and connect with a moment of peace here, even with the stretch.
Can you find that inner peace? When you feel ready, coming back up to hands and knees. Find your tabletop. Extend your right leg long behind you. Drop your heel, reach your right arm up to the sky. Exhale, lower it over the right ear, coming into gate pose. Outer edge of that right foot is going to reach towards the earth, stretching long. Enjoying it. If it's fun, bring that right foot up. You can wiggle your arms and your wrist, finding free in all the joints, undoing any stuckness. Lower your foot to the floor, reach your arm to the sky, and bring your right hand into that left hip crease. Roll your shoulder open and gaze upward, noticing your heart feeling free here as it reaches towards the sky. Outer edge of the right foot when pressing into the earth. You'll notice perhaps the top of your right hip. Reach your arm towards the sky, coming back to hands and knees. Enjoy a cat-cow before we switch sides. Maybe even two, if that's what your spine needs. Notice what it would enjoy. Coming back to tabletop. Stretch your left leg long behind. Drop your heel, reach your arm up to the sky. Exhale, reach it over here. Close your eyes and see if you can find peace here. As you reach and stretch, find those pockets of inner peace. Roll your wrist. Bring your hand back up to the sky and lower it into the right hip crease. Roll your shoulder open, gaze upwards. And notice your heart, the freedom. It's a bit unstuck here, exposed. Letting it fill. Close your eyes here. And notice that that sense of peace is easier to connect with. And it comes when you let go and quiet all of the other. Reach your hand up to the sky, coming back to hands and knees. We're gonna slither forward into Sphinx pose, inviting a little bit of free in the lower back. Spread your fingers wide, forearms on the floor, and your heart's gonna shine forward. The front of your hips is connected deeply into the earth like flashlights. Top of the feet resting lightly. Inhale deeply. And exhale, let it out. Inhale once again. Exhale, come to stillness here. Close your eyes. See if you connect to that peace. Curl your toes and press back into child's pose. Knees apart, toes together. Release your back, always being kind to your back after a Sphinx pose. Lowering your forehead or third eye to the floor. Once again, here with your eyes closed and the light quiet, connecting to what more peace and feeling more free would be for you. What would bring you peace? What do you have to think to find peace? What stories might help you connect with peace? Perhaps everything is exactly as it should be. Perhaps it's going to work out well in the end. Trusting yourself, trusting others, all things that many of us struggle with. Perhaps deciding to let go of judgment. Perhaps allowing what is just to be. You don't have to like it. Perhaps it's acceptance.
acceptance and peace with where you are in this moment, where your loved ones are, where the world is. It doesn't mean that you like it. It doesn't mean that you won't do amazing things to bring light into the world. But connecting with peace is a superpower, much like connecting with satisfied and self-compassion. It's a very powerful emotion that steadies you. And it brings free. When you're at peace, you can feel free. And free is fun and free is joyful. When you feel ready, coming back up to hands and knees, curling your toes and lifting up into downward dog, shooting your hips up, and enjoy the stretch. Walk the dog. Downward dog is a spine stretch. Shift your hips way, 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 way up. Lowering your forehead towards the earth. Lots of sensations. Letting yourself be free of the stickiness in the back of your legs. Free your spine here as you reach your hips towards the sky. Shake your head in all directions. Walk the dog a little bit more because it's fun and it feels good. Find your belly. Ground your right foot into the earth. Raise your left hand towards the sky. Left foot, sorry. Don't raise your left hand. I'll give you a minute. Roll your ankle, inviting that looseness. Bend your knees, stack your hips, free your hips, creating the space. When we create space, there's more room to feel free, light, hopeful, peaceful, joy-filled, creating that space. Inviting, freeing your hips here, it might feel like. Stretching them as much as feels good to your back. Don't overdo it. Re-square your hips, and you'll gently bring your foot between your hands, coming into warrior one here. Readjust yourself when you arrive if you need to. Warrior one, your back foot is on a slight angle, but less so than warrior two. And you're going to reach your arms up towards the sky. Wiggle those front toes a little farther forward. You should feel a stretch in the calf. Bend your front knee. Inhale, reach as tall as you can. Freeing any tightness in the waist. Noticing your heart light, feeling freer in the chest. Use the breath to soften and invite that filling. Huge breath in, letting go of the cement casing in your chest. Huge breath in and out. Bringing your arms out towards the side walls. We'll clasp them at our sacrum. Press the fists downward, shoulders down. Heart is shining forward. Envisioning here, if you felt free, what would you do? Free of judgment, free of heaviness, free of worry. What would you do today? Pressing your shoulders down. Draw your chin to chest, adding in a little more space here. Releasing your hands, bringing them back to heart center. We're going to hop the back foot forward and shift forward onto that front foot, coming into warrior three as a flying pose. Raise your right leg up, and you can spread your arms wide like a bird. My favorite bird is those pelicans. Well, it's not my favorite. I actually like a lot of birds, but I have a thing for pelicans. And I'm envisioning myself flying over those waves, feeling free as they dive from the sky into fish. Have a visual of where you feel free, even free of the heaviness keeping you on the earth as you're here in this warrior three, just enjoying it. If balance is an issue today, press your thumbs into your sternum. When you feel complete, lower your foot back down to warrior one. Warrior one's a little bit wider as well in the foot stance, and turn your hips to face forward. You're going to stretch your arms wide once again, and we're going to come into eagle pose.
Birds to me are a sign of freedom, and they're very peaceful. Bring your elbows in front, right elbow under right, cross your hands, coming into eagle arms, shoulders to elbows to shoulder height. Breathing in here. Press your elbows against each other, especially if your hands don't reach. They cannot be touching, and you can still get this beautiful, spacious feeling between the scapula. Tight and leading to this peaceful freedom feeling at the end. Inhale, lift your elbows up a smidge. Exhale, lower them down into your belly. Drop your head and neck. And notice. Bring your elbows back to shoulder height. Release them out towards the sides. Drop them down and enjoy the tingles. With intention, take a deep breath and drop your shoulders. While your feet are still working, you can enjoy these tingles. Reach your arms up towards the sky. Cartwheel them out. You're going to turn your back heel slightly, coming into warrior two, and you're going to walk that back foot way farther back, coming into a long warrior two. Your feet should be in heel to heel alignment. Left toes are going to jet line towards the front. Your arms are going to reach in either direction. Inhale, grow your torso tall, and exhale, sink in. A big, juicy warrior two. Gazes over the left middle finger. When we have this inner strength is where we can find that peace and feel free. Envisioning yourself here as a warrior, could you find freedom from all this judgment and self-doubt and lack of worthiness and enoughness? What if you're just awesome the way you are? Huge in-breath. And exhale with grace, slide your right arm down the right leg and fan open the ribs, reach the left arm into peaceful or graceful warrior. I'm going to call it, or elegant warrior. Huge breath in. And exhale, release. See if you can connect with this peaceful warrior. Finding peace, finding stillness in your feet. Close your eyes if you can. Noticing how much more peace comes with the eyes closed. The balance is trickier, but the stillness is easier to connect with. Coming back to warrior two. Reach your arms up, turn your hips back, and cartwheel down to the floor. You're going to turn your back foot to jet line towards the front. Hop it forward, coming into pyramid pose. For those of you who have blocks, use them. And I have mentioned that I would love it if those of you who come regularly have blocks so we can use them more. Someone at Sagrada this week who is not a yogi said that they actually loved yoga with blocks and all the supports. They didn't know that that was a thing. And so the more you use the supports, the more you can grow and stretch and shift. They're not a crutch. They're actually a tool to make more progress, a tool to grow, evolve in different ways. In this pyramid pose, inhale for a half lift. Your back will be flat, sending love and kindness to the left hamstring. Exhale, fold forward, release your head and neck. Lift in, shift your weight into your toes, lift your back heel, lower your back heel, lift your front toes up and enjoy the back of the left leg. Lower the front toes down, huge breath in. Exhale, complete release, fold forward. Close your eyes and connect with peace. Noticing that this peace and free is a gateway to joy. When you feel free, you can find joy, you can find laughter. Inviting the stickiness and the tightness and the sludge in the back of the legs to soften. And if you have tight hamstrings, can you find peace with that?
We're going to walk our hands forward. And for those of you who have blocks, please use them. Bend your front knee a wee bit, and you're going to raise your right leg up towards the sky, coming into half splits. Your back foot's going to reach as high as it can. Roll your ankle. Getting rid of any stuckness, inviting loose. If you want, you can bend your front leg and straighten it. Notice what happens. For those of you who think it would be fun, bring your left hand to the floor or a block. Bring your right hand to your hip, and you'll bring your right elbow up and coming into a bit of a half moon here. You can also use a couch instead of a block or a chair or stool. And reach your right arm up. Bringing your right arm back to your hip if it's up, hands back to the floor, hips square back to the front, and lower your foot down, coming into a forward fold, a big juicy one. Bend your knees, release your hands come to opposite elbow, and have a sway and a rock. A really fun, juicy one. Release your hands to the floor, engage your belly, and roll up inch by inch by inch by inch. Your head will be the last to rise. Coming into Tadasana or mountain pose, letting the blood flow come to rest, letting yourself readjust, adapt, accommodate to being upright, enjoying it for a moment. Draw up the energy of the earth through the soles of your feet, through your calves, to your knees, engage your thighs, tuck your belly, engage your belly, grow tall in your torso, all the way up through the crown of your head. Heart is light and free in the chest, reaching the crown of the head to the sky. Exhale, drop your shoulders, palms open, Tadasana or mountain pose. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Close your eyes and notice if you can connect with these feelings of peace and free. How might you invite more peace? How might you connect with feeling free? Once again, what would you like to be free of? What would you like to be free to do? What would you like to be free to enjoy more of or feel more of? Rolling your wrists in either direction. Opening your eyes. Find the soles of your feet. Lift your arms out and up towards the sky. Slight arch back. And we'll fold forward, forward fold. Inhale for a half lift. Spine is flat. Exhale, forward fold. Excuse me. Step back directly to downward dog. And take a moment here to enjoy it. Heels reach towards the floor. Bend one knee, the other knee. Big breath in. Huge breath out, like a lion's breath. Do that one more time. Big breath in. Sticking your tongue out, letting it go. Find your palms, all 10 fingers, equal pie shapes, pressing, flattening your palms to the earth. Ground into the left ball of the foot. Engage your belly and raise your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knees, stack your hips, roll it open, enjoy it in both directions. Roll the ankle, really release that hip, giving your hips a chance to stretch juicily. Feel free to stretch, creating space in your hips. We carry a lot of tension and old stories in our hips. Can you decide to be free of those? Free hips are amazing. Restack your hips so they're square. Extend your right foot long. Gently bring your foot between your hands, coming up into warrior one.
Take a moment to be kind and transition well here. Set up your warrior one to be lovely. Your right toes are going to jet line to the front. Probably walk a little bit farther forward. Your back heel hopefully will come towards the earth, may not reach the earth, but should be a really delicious calf stretch. Our calves do a lot of work for us. Letting that calf grow and lengthen. Stretching is growing and lengthening. Reaching arms to the sky. Huge breath in. Exhale, sink. Drop your knee in the front. Inviting release in that back calf. Inviting the torso to grow, lengthen, stretch. Feel free. Roll your wrists in either direction. Unsticking them, inviting freedom of movement in your wrists. Free of gravity, free of work. Bringing your arms out and reclasping them at your sacrum. Press your fists to the floor. Heart is free, light shining forward. If you were to move forward feeling free and peaceful, what would you do? Huge breath in and out. What might be possible from the sensation of peace and free? Pressing your fists to the floor, releasing the shoulders, drop your chin to chest, bringing up tight spots in your neck, giving yourself permission to be free of hypervigilance and holding on to things, holding on to those grudges, perhaps even free of feeling like a victim, free of comparing and despairing. What if nothing bad happened? You were free of all of those. Reaching your arms out, bringing them back to heart center. We're going to tip forward and fly in warrior three. Adjust your feet. Your stance will be a little shorter before you tip. Bend that front knee, raise your left leg, and come into warrior three. For those of you for whom balance is not your strong suit today, keep your hands at your sternum and press together to help you balance. For those of you who wish to fly free, do that. Envision your favorite bird, whether it's the turkey vulture or over the California mountains, the pelicans, right over the crest of the wave, or in their chevron, or whatever your bird is. A steady bird in this case. Flying free. Bring your hands back to heart center. Drop that back foot. Still in warrior one stance. Find a steady landing. Find your inner center. Reach your arms back out to the sides, and we're going to come into eagle arms on this side. For most of you, it will be left elbow under right. Palms face the back wall and bring your hands together. Elbows to shoulder height. Creating space between the scapula. Press your elbows into each other if that feels good. Don't do it if it doesn't. Huge breath in and out. Closing your eyes and finding peace even here. You can connect with peace amidst the tension. Peace changes your experience of the tension. There's always going to be tension in life. Can you find peace within? Remembering that peace begins with you. Huge breath in, lift your elbows up a smidge, round forward, drop your head and neck, and invite space into every nook and cranny of the spine. Big breath in and out. Bringing your hands back up, untangling them, pressing them into the side walls, lower them down, and enjoy the release for a minute. Shake your fingers freely, wrists. Inhale your arms up towards the sky, cartwheel them open, coming into that warrior two. Readjust your feet, a longer stance, bend your front knee, and reach as long as you can in either direction. Huge breath in, out, sinking in.
Find your center, your dantian, your wisdom in your solar plexus, around your belly button, noticing where your strength is as you gaze over the right middle finger. Inhale, drop your left hand down the left thigh, arch that right arm back, coming into peaceful warrior. Connecting here with this idea of peace. Noticing that this inner peace is freeing in and of itself. Rolling your wrist in this peaceful warrior if that feels good. Notice what your body needs and allow it that. Give yourself the freedom to choose to opt in or opt out, letting go of judgment of anything that's better or worse. Cartwheeling your hands back to warrior two. Lowering them down on either side of that front foot. Hop your back foot forward, coming into pyramid pose. It's a shorter stance. Both toes reach towards the front. Tack your right hip back, left hip forward. Shift your weight in either direction, up on your tiptoes, back on your heels, lifting toes up, coming to stillness. Breathe. Inhale for a half lift. Your back is flat. Enjoy this shift. Your heart is light, shining forward. The heart feels free in these flat back, half lift positions. Just hanging loosely, enjoying the ride. Exhale, fold forward. Release completely. Close your eyes. See if you can connect to peace. Hop your back foot forward to meet the front. Coming into a juicy forward fold. You're going to bring your hands to your sacrum, clasp them, stretch your hands up towards the sky, and let them release over your head and neck. If this is accessible to you, if this isn't, you can get a strap or a belt and have your hands on the belts and do it that way. Notice what works for your body. Again, the support allows us to grow and evolve even more. You can bend one knee and the other, have a little twist to either side, sending love to those shoulders. Release your hands. Taking a moment here, upside down. When we're upside down in inversions, the invitation is to shift your perspective. Can you close your eyes and find peace even here in this very awkward spot with lots of tension? Seeing if you can find pockets of peace, connect with that energy of peace. Bringing your hands back to your sacrum, sliding them down your legs, engage your belly and rolling up, massaging each bit of the spine as you arrive. And connect for a moment as everything settles. Notice the tingles, enjoy them. Open your eyes, and we're going to come down to the floor, however you'd like. Free to choose what works for you. And when you arrive, you can settle flat or bring your knees into your chest and have a rock. Notice what feels best to your body here. Drawing your knees in. For those of you with knees bent, bring your forehead to your knees, squeezing tight, 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 and release, coming down to the floor with your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. And if you just arrived on the floor and rested there, coming into knees bent, soles of the feet, palms on the earth, we're going to press into our feet, palms flat on the earth, lifting up into a bridge pose. Shimmy your shoulders underneath you, lift your hips high. You can grab the outer edges of your mat, tug your mat towards your heels, reaching those hips and belly as high as you can towards the sky. Reaching, 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 reaching. Enjoy your back body, engage your glutes, engage your belly, shining the front of your hips like flashlights up towards the sky. Knees will energetically connect. Wiggle your toes a little farther forward. Inhale, lift up onto your
toes, your heels will be high in the sky. Exhale, lower your heels down. Inhale. Release your hands and rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, unrolling the pearls all the way until you reach the floor as you exhale slowly. No hurry, no rush. When you land, just arrive. Let yourself melt and connect with this peaceful moment here. Moments of peace can be connected with in the midst of every day. You don't have to be at peace with everything, but you can notice peace, look for peace. Find it when it's hiding in the nooks and crannies. Bring, excuse me, soles of your feet together, knees apart, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana or reclining butterfly. Bring a hand to heart and a hand to belly. And let yourself settle in here. Connect with peace. Bring your hands to the outer edges of your thighs, draw your knees together. Extend your legs into Shavasana or final resting pose. Your knees will be straight. You'll allow your toes to fall towards the outer edge of the mat. Palms will reach towards the sky. If you need a bolster or block or a blanket under your knees for your back, be kind. The intention of Shavasana is integration. It's also surrender, which is freeing, surrendering to the earth, letting go of control. That's what freedom is. That's where peace is found. Allowing this work to do what it's meant to, trusting that your body will take up whatever it needs. And it's a practice of letting go. Allow yourself to relax onto this mat. And just notice how you feel. And as you're here relaxing in, envision that the mat is a flying carpet. It's actually free to lift you up off the floor, off the earth. You're free enough to float. Completely safe, nothing to worry about. Floating on this mat. You might float somewhere where you'd like to see the ocean or the mountains. You might just hover. Notice what feels good to you. Or your freedom may come from being held by the earth safely in your room, in your space, wherever you are, in your backyard. Allowing yourself to enjoy complete surrender, relaxation, calm, quiet, and peace for a few moments. And as you rest, I wanted to share a story that I also read this week at Sagrada. And it's about finding freedom from things in your life through stories. It's called The Chocolate Story.
It's by Janet Archer in one of my favorite books that I often read in these classes. My mom has always loved chocolate anything. She would never turn down a chocolate staring her in the face. For the past year or so, I have been buying her boxes of chocolates at the grocery store so that she can share them with the nurses and anyone else she would care to share them with. Since she has dementia, she is always surprised when I hold the box in front of her, open it, and ask her if she would like it. Oh my, where did this come from? I just love chocolates. One day we were sitting in silence as she finished one of her chocolates, and she turned to me and said, "You know, my mother drops these boxes of chocolates off here for me to eat." Really? I didn't know your mother came to visit. That is so nice of her to keep dropping off these boxes of chocolates for you. She said yes. She feels so bad about what a mean mother she was to me. She is sorry for all those times she said no, like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't wear that. No, you can't say that. She wants to make up for it, so she keeps bringing me chocolates. She knows I love them. I sat there frozen. This was amazing. My mother is 96 years old. Her mother is long dead. They had a terrible relationship right up until my grandmother died some 30 years ago. My mother was creating a new story, one that made her feel good, a story where her mother wasn't some terrible, awful woman trying to change and control her daughter while withholding her love. This story made my mother happy. What we think has such a powerful effect on not only ourselves, but also on those around us. We don't have to be 96 with dementia in order to change those stories in our head that create pain and suffering for us. We are the creators of our own world by the perception we hold about everything from one moment to the next. My mother loves me, said my mom's new story, and she took another bite of that sweet, delicious chocolate. Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Slowly deepen your breath and make your way with some stretches and wiggles and whatever your body needs to a comfortable seat. Notice if you need a full stretch, you want to roll to one side, you just want to come up. Do what feels right to you. When you arrive, find your sit bones, connect them into the earth, grow your spine tall. Big deep breath in and out. Bring a hand to heart and the other hand to top. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. The light and hope and peace and freedom within me reflects and honors that light and hope and peace and freedom within each and every one of you. May you have a beautiful week filled with connecting with peace and free and the joy and fun and lightness that can come when you do. Have a beautiful week.